The late-night shift at Mason's Diner was always quiet. Nestled in a sleepy corner of town, the small cafe mostly welcomed truckers, late-night workers, and a few regulars who enjoyed their coffee in peace. Samantha, a 26-year-old waitress, had worked here for years. She knew every customer by name, every order by heart, and every little sound the old diner made. For her, this place was more than just a job. It was her safe haven. That night, as she wiped down the counter, the bell above the door jingled. Samantha glanced up, expecting to see one of the usual customers, but instead, her breath hitched. Standing at the entrance, dressed in a simple hoodie and jeans, was none other than Elon Musk. For a moment, the diner fell silent. Conversations halted, coffee cups hovered mid-air, and every pair of eyes turned toward the unexpected visitor. Even Samantha found herself frozen in place, her mind struggling to process what she was seeing. Why on earth was the richest man in the world stepping into this tiny, run-down diner? Elon, unfazed by the attention, casually walked toward an empty booth near the window. He didn't act like a billionaire. There was no security detail, no flashy entrance, just a man looking for a quiet place to sit. Samantha quickly snapped out of her daze. He's just a customer. Treat him like any other. She straightened her apron, took a deep breath, and approached his table. "Good evening, sir," she said, keeping her voice steady. "What can I get for you tonight?" Elon looked up, his expression tired yet kind. "Just a black coffee," he said, "and surprise me with something sweet." Samantha nodded. "Coming right up." As she turned toward the counter, she could hear whispers from the other customers. Some murmured in excitement, while others exchanged skeptical glances. "Why is he here?" one man muttered. "Probably lost," another chuckled. "Or maybe scouting the town for his next big project," someone else whispered. Samantha ignored the chatter. She poured the coffee, carefully placed a fresh slice of homemade apple pie on a plate, and brought it to Elon's table. "Here you go," she said with a polite smile. Elon took a sip of the coffee, nodded approvingly, and then picked up his fork. But just as he was about to take a bite, a voice cut through the diner, a voice filled with hostility. "Excuse me," said Mr. Reynolds, one of the older regulars. A retired factory worker known for his strong opinions, he stood up from his stool at the counter and walked over to Elon's table. The diner grew tense. Samantha's stomach knotted. "Here we go." Mr. Reynolds crossed his arms, his face twisted in a mix of skepticism and annoyance. "What's a billionaire like you doing in a place like this?" he asked, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Ain't this a little too humble for your taste?" Samantha's heart pounded. She shot Reynolds a warning glance, silently pleading for him to stop. The last thing she needed was a scene, but Elon didn't look offended. In fact, he just smiled, setting his fork down. "I like simple places," he said casually. "Good food, quiet atmosphere, that's all I need tonight." Some customers chuckled, but Reynolds wasn't done. He scoffed, shaking his head. "Must be nice, huh? Sitting here enjoying a pie while the rest of us struggle to pay our bills. Maybe you should throw some of that fortune around instead of just sitting on it." The room fell dead silent. Samantha's pulse quickened. He's crossing the line. Before Elon could respond, Samantha stepped forward. "Mr. Reynolds, that's enough," she said firmly. "He's a paying customer like anyone else. Please let him eat in peace." The old man huffed. But before he could argue back, the manager stormed out from the kitchen. "Samantha, a word, now!" Her stomach twisted. Oh no. She followed the manager, Mr. Jenkins, to the back of the diner. His face was red with anger. "Are you out of your mind?" he hissed. "Do you have any idea who you're talking to?" She frowned. "I was just defending a customer." Jenkins let out a frustrated sigh. "Not just any customer. That's Elon Musk. Do you know how much money a guy like that could bring to this place? And you're out there acting like his personal bodyguard." Samantha clenched her fists. "I wasn't protecting him. I was just doing my job." But Jenkins wasn't listening. His voice dropped lower, colder. "You've always had a bad attitude, Samantha, and I'm done with it. You're fired." Her breath caught in her throat. "What?" she whispered. "You heard me. Hand over your apron and get out." Shock and humiliation flooded her chest. She glanced back at the diner, at the customers still whispering, at Elon, who sat quietly watching the whole thing unfold. Tears burned in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Slowly, she untied her apron, set it on the counter, and walked out of the diner with nothing left but her dignity. As she pushed the door open and stepped into the cold night, one thought echoed in her mind. What am I going to do now? Samantha walked down the dimly lit street, her mind spinning. She had bills to pay, rent due in a week, and barely any savings. Losing this job wasn't just humiliating, it was disastrous. Her breath hitched as she pulled her coat tighter. How could Jenkins fire me over that? All she did was stand up for someone being treated unfairly. But none of that mattered now. She was jobless. Again. Lost in thought, she barely heard the footsteps behind her until a voice called out, "Samantha, wait!" She stopped in her tracks, turning to see Elon Musk walking toward her. She blinked. Why was he here? Elon caught up, his hands tucked into his pockets. "I saw what happened in there," he said, his tone calm but serious. That was unfair. Samantha let out a dry laugh. "Yeah, well, life's unfair. I'll figure something out." He studied her for a moment, then asked, "How long have you worked there?" 2 years, she muttered. "Not exactly my dream job, but it paid the bills." Elon nodded. "And what is your dream job?" She let out a sigh. "I don't know. Something where I don't get fired for doing the right thing." He smirked at that. "I like people who stand up for others. It's rare these days." Samantha frowned. "Why are you telling me this?" Elon paused, then pulled a sleek business card from his jacket. "Because I might have a better opportunity for you." She stared at the card. Tesla Incorporated. Direct line, Elon Musk. Her breath caught in her throat. Was this real? Elon gave a small smile. "I'm not offering charity, but I do believe in hiring people who have integrity. If you're interested, call that number tomorrow. We'll talk." Samantha's fingers trembled as she took the card. "You're serious?" He nodded. Dead serious. For the first time that night, hope flickered in her chest. Maybe losing her job wasn't the end. Maybe it was just the beginning. Samantha stood frozen, staring at the business card in her hand. The dim glow of the streetlights reflected off the sleek lettering, Elon Musk. Tesla Incorporated. This had to be a dream. A billionaire offering her a job? It didn't seem real. She looked up at Elon, skepticism creeping into her voice. "Why me?" He tilted his head slightly. "Because people like you, who stand by their principles even when it costs them, are the kind of people I want on my team." Samantha swallowed hard. She wanted to believe this was real, but the past had taught her that things too good to be true usually were. "I don't have a degree in engineering. I don't know anything about cars or rockets." Elon smirked. "Neither did I when I started. What I care about is work ethic, loyalty, and the courage to do what's right. And you've already proven you have that." Her heart pounded. A small part of her wanted to say no, to walk away and not risk disappointment. But then she thought about her landlord knocking on her door, the past due notices piling up, the exhaustion of barely scraping by. "What kind of job are we talking about?" she asked hesitantly. Elon's expression turned serious. "My foundation works on projects that help people, education, sustainability, medical aid. We need someone sharp, someone who can help manage operations and connect with communities. You'd start small, but with time, who knows?" A whirlwind of emotion swirled inside her. Was she really about to go from serving coffee to working with Elon Musk's foundation? She took a deep breath. "I'll call in the morning." Elon gave a small nod. "Good. I'll be waiting." And with that, he turned and walked away, leaving Samantha standing there under the streetlight, clutching the card like it was the key to a new future. The next morning, Samantha sat at her small kitchen table, staring at the business card as if it might disappear. She had barely slept. Half of her still believed that last night had been some bizarre dream. Her phone sat beside her, the screen dark. All she had to do was dial the number. But a tiny voice in her head whispered doubts. What if he was just being polite? What if he changed his mind? What if this was all a mistake? She exhaled sharply. Number. She had lost too much already. Her job, her sense of security. She wasn't about to let fear stop her now. Before she could overthink it, she grabbed the phone and dialed. The line rang once, twice, then clicked. Hello? A crisp, professional voice answered. Hi. My name is Samantha Reed. Elon Musk gave me this number and said I should call about a... Ah, yes, the voice interrupted warmly. We've been expecting you. Mr. Musk mentioned you'd be reaching out. Can you come by the Tesla headquarters today for a meeting? Samantha blinked. Expecting me? This was real. Yes, of course. What time? Let's say noon? I'll be there, she said, her hands shaking slightly as she hung up. She barely had time to process what had just happened. She needed something professional to wear, something that didn't scream broke waitress with nowhere else to go. She dug through her tiny closet, finally pulling out a simple blouse and a blazer she had thrifted years ago for job interviews. It wasn't much, but it would have to do. A glance at the clock told her she had just enough time to make the bus. Heart pounding, she grabbed her bag and stepped outside, stepping toward a future she had never imagined. Samantha arrived at the Tesla headquarters, her heart pounding as she walked through the massive glass doors. The sleek, futuristic interior was nothing like the small cafe she had spent years working in. Everything gleamed with innovation and purpose. At the front desk, a well-dressed receptionist greeted her with a polite smile. You must be Samantha Reed. Mr. Musk is expecting you. She barely had time to process those words before the receptionist gestured toward an elevator. Take this up to the executive floor. Someone will meet you there. Samantha nodded, stepping inside the elevator. As the doors closed, she exhaled sharply, trying to steady her nerves. This is happening. This is real. When the doors opened, she found herself in a large open office space. A young man in a suit approached her. Miss Reed, right this way. She followed him down a long hallway until they reached a spacious conference room. And there, sitting casually at the table, was Elon Musk himself. He looked up with a small smile. Samantha, glad you could make it. She forced herself to breathe. Thank you for inviting me. Elon gestured for her to sit. After what happened at the cafe, I couldn't stop thinking about it. You stood up for what you believed in, even when it cost you everything. That's the kind of person I want on my team. She swallowed hard, hardly believing what she was hearing. But I don't have a degree in business or engineering. I don't know anything about tech. Elon leaned forward, his expression serious. Skills can be taught. Integrity can't. I need people who aren't afraid to speak the truth. That's why I want to offer you a position at the Musk Foundation. It's not just about technology. We focus on helping communities, funding education, and supporting people who want to make a real impact. Samantha felt her breath hitch. You're offering me a job? Elon nodded. Yes, a real job, with real pay. You'd be working with our outreach team, helping organize programs for underprivileged communities. People like you who actually care are exactly who we need. For a moment she was speechless. Just yesterday she had been fired, humiliated, and unsure of her future. Now she was sitting across from one of the most powerful men in the world, being offered a second chance. A slow, incredulous smile spread across her face. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Elon said simply, a glint of amusement in his eyes. Samantha took a deep breath, her heart racing. Yes. A wave of emotions crashed over Samantha. Relief, gratitude, disbelief. Just a day ago she had lost everything. Now she had an opportunity beyond her wildest dreams. Elon leaned back with a satisfied nod. Good, welcome aboard. Samantha swallowed hard, still struggling to process it all. I don't know how to thank you. Elon simply shrugged. Don't thank me. Just do what you've always done. Stand up for what's right. She let out a shaky laugh, wiping at the tears threatening to spill. I can do that. As she left Tesla headquarters that day, Samantha felt lighter than she had in years. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't just surviving. She was stepping into a future full of purpose and possibility. The next few weeks flew by in a blur. She moved into a small but comfortable apartment, began training with the Musk Foundation, and threw herself into the work. Every day, she met people whose lives were being transformed through education, financial support, and technology. And every day she remembered the cafe, the humiliation, the uncertainty, only to realize it had all led her here. One afternoon, as she walked through the bustling office, her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Still think it was worth standing up for?" Samantha's heart skipped a beat. She didn't need to ask who it was. Smiling to herself, she typed back, "Every second of it." She hit send, then slipped her phone into her pocket and walked forward, toward the life she had never expected, but now couldn't imagine living without. What do you think about Samantha's decision to stand up for Elon Musk even when it cost her everything? Would you have done the same? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story of resilience and unexpected rewards, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.